What's going on, guys? I'm Matt from DSR, and today I want to put one simple question to you. Can you tell the difference between the older Osmo Action 5 Pro against the newer Osmo Action 6? Is it a waste of money? Should you just stick with what you got rather than just sticking with the fad and buying new every year? Now, for this very scientific test, I've put the same ND filter strength on both cameras. I've checked all the settings, they're all exactly the same as each other. 4K 30, auto white balance, auto exposure, both set to negative 0.3 on the EV meter, ultra wide, horizon balancing, and a -2 on both of the texture and detail. So yeah, as best I can, the same settings. Hopefully you're going to get the same image. The audio is only going to be through the Osmo 6 with the DJI Mic 2. For me, I'm going to be testing kind of the three main areas that I personally use these cameras at. The first one being obviously sat on the bike, POV style, looking forward. Second one is going to be looking at the detail of the bike when we're off and we're kind of doing our walk around. And then thirdly is going to be when we're stationary, talking about the bike, kind of looking at ourselves. And yeah, that may be where we start seeing some of the differences when we're looking at the detail shots, because the Action 6 has got the variable aperture, f2 to 4, whereas the Action 5 has got a fixed aperture. No more talking, let's get on with it. So I do have the old hot start issues as a 2019 GSA. And it is one of the things I'm going to sort out for this year. I'm going to put a better, stronger battery in. Well, give me a minute, folks. And because of this bike, this is always why I carry a battery pack around with me. This has happened probably 5 or 6 times, where she just doesn't want to crank over. You have to let her cool down all the way, and then eventually she'll start up. Or grab yourself a power pack, chuck it on. She starts straight away. Now I know the new Osmo Action 6 comes with the 8K sensor, but the problem with that, it means the file sizes are huge. And don't get me wrong, 4K files aren't small, but as soon as you start going into the 8K realms, you start needing a lot more storage. And honestly, unless you start pixel peeping and zooming in lots, I don't think people can tell the difference between 4K and 8K. And half the time when you're watching it on YouTube, it naturally sets it to a lower quality, to like 720 or 1080. You have to then remember, as the viewer, to turn it over to 4K. Because I can film in 4K, edit in 4K, download and upload in 4K. But that doesn't mean shit if you don't turn your personal settings over on your screen, i.e. YouTube settings. I like the idea of the open gate on the Action 6. How often I'll use it, I don't know, we'll see. We'll see going forward. This is genuinely one of the first sunny days we've had in 26, and it's the 2nd of March. I've not been out filming much to test it and then see if I do use it or not, but it's like when I got the Action 5 and it had the tracking internally. I thought I'd use that more than what I did. Honestly, I don't even think I used it on any of the normal videos. So again, they like to hype up the features that you think you're going to use. It's whether you do or not. In a bit, I'll take it out of the auto exposure, I'll put it to manual, and we'll see what it looks, see how the motion blur compares to each other. I know when I've done this test with the 5 versus the 4, I must admit, I still prefer the Action 4. The Action 5 just wasn't a step up, there wasn't enough difference to even warrant buying it, but I did anyway, obviously. And so it'll be interesting to see the 6 versus the 5, and then later on I will do another one where it's 4 versus the 6. So if you have got the 4, do you even need to worry about this? This is now just the quick comparison between the two in manual settings. Remember, same strength ND filter, so the footage should be as comparable as possible. it feels good to be back out on the bike. Gonna stop off at Bransons on the way back. Get some demo bikes booked in. So they finally got some of their 26 demos on the forecourt. So yeah, I'll get those booked in for probably tomorrow or Wednesday. I've now found my usual park up, and yeah, so the second way that I would use the action camera is for this handheld, talking about the bike, talking about its features. And so again, exactly the same settings. I've changed them from ultra wide to both on standard. I must admit, it does feel good being back out in the sun, making content again. This winter's been a long one. Anyway, less of me, more of the bike. So this is now what I'd class the shadow side. There's quite harsh sunlight today. Can you tell any difference in the detail? We are now finally rocking the full Lone Rider back box pannier set. So I did have the soft motor bags from them. I've now upgraded to the hard, like just a hard rack system. I think it complements the bike bloody lovely. And then lastly, the sit down talking shot, so come with me. Whenever I do any form of recording, whether it be on the bike POV style or walking around, I always use a microphone, whether it be the DJI Mic 2 or the Mic Mini. Personally, I like the Mic 2 in the helmet, and then because it is a bit bigger and heavier, I like to use the Mic Mini on my shirt whilst I'm doing my walkarounds. But right now, there's no mic connected. Audio's coming out straight from the cameras. Both cameras have got the wind noise set to standard because there's a little bit of wind coming. So you can do off, standard or high. I either personally do off or standard. I wouldn't do high in camera. If I needed to do any more, I would do it in the editing. Just do a little bit of more voice isolation. But yeah, so this is the audio straight from the cameras. With it being the beginning of March and spring's kind of just poking its head around, me and Mark are actually planning a couple of days over in Wales at the end of this month. So let me know in the comments box below, where are you guys planning on going? So far, have you been able to tell the real difference between the Action 5 and the Action 6? And now, say when I've done this with the 4 and the 5, I waited till the end of the video to put on which camera is which. And loads of people in the comments box didn't like that. They didn't appreciate it. They wanted to know which one was it straight away. So that's why this time I've just told you Action 5's on, left or right. I don't know which way the footage is going to be until I come to edit it. So I'll let you know which one's which. Is there a difference? Is it worth spending the extra money, or just save your money, keep what you've got, and just make do? Because yes, the Action 6 did come with some improvements over the 5, like the 8K, like the open gate kind of flexibility to do horizontal or vertical recording at the same time, variable aperture 2 versus variable aperture 2 to 4 rather than the fixed. It's whether the type of recording you do, you actually benefit from any of them. Potentially not. I don't know, I'm still on this. Potentially not. Well guys, that's it. Honestly, I just wanted to do a quick video, kind of get me back into filming, and this seemed like an easy one to do. So don't forget, drop a comment below, tell me, can you tell the difference between the 5 and the 6, and is it worth upgrading? If you've liked it, give it a thumbs up. More importantly, subscribe to the channel. Plenty more videos coming very soon, because the sun is finally here. Until the next one, ride safe.